What's going on, noobs? I am Rory, the Perpetual Noob, and welcome back to another exciting Hollow Knight boss discussion. Today we'll be talking about the buzziest, some would even say cutest boss, Hive Knight. Hive Knight is an optional boss, unless we're going 4% completion, and was added as part of the Lifeblood update, and is located in the far right of the Hive. The game expects us to use the Monarch Wings to reach the Hive. Once we navigate the Hive and get deep enough into the final chamber, walls of wax, I'm guessing, close us in and we will be assaulted by 7 Hivelings.
I'm covered in bees! Ah!
Once the last Hiveling reaches the floor, Hive Knight will somersault multiple times down from the ceiling and the fight begins. Hive Knight will sometimes leap around the arena, doing somersaults as they go. This leap does not track us. Hive Knight lunges at us with their needle. The lunge covers about 65% of the arena. Hive Knight telegraphs this attack when they lower into a wide stance and hold their needle behind them. They bounce in this position for a few moments. Then they deepen their stance and swap their needle to their leading hand just before lunging. And since Hive Knight clearly knows what they are doing, unlike another nameless knight, Zote, they end the lunge with an elegant tumble. Let's call this attack the lunge attack. Hive Knight teleports near us and slashes their needle. Hive Knight can appear on either side of us. The slash covers a wide range and shifts Hive Knight forward a little bit. Hive Knight can do this attack in the air as well because they track us with this attack. The slash covers about 35% of the arena, and a little more if they do this attack in the air. Hive Knight telegraphs this attack when they squat briefly before leaping into the air. Shortly after, they vanish. They reappear near us less than a quarter of a second later. It takes a few moments for them to rematerialize, and shortly soon after they're in focus, they draw their needle up. After holding this pose for half a second, they slash their needle in a huge downward arc and shift forward. Once again, they finish this attack with an elegant tumble. Let's call this attack the surprise slash attack. Hive Knight creates 3 orbs of spike-filled honey. This attack won't happen until we've taken at least 4% of Hive Knight's health. These orbs can appear anywhere within the top 2/3 of the arena. Each orb contains 8 spikes, and the spikes travel in the direction in which they point. The orbs form rapidly, one after another. No 2 orbs will ever occupy the same row or column, and they will vibrate in their positions. We can move the orbs when we strike them with our nail, but we can't destroy them at all. The orbs explode in the order in which they formed, every half second after the 3rd and final orb's spikes appear. The orbs are dangerous as soon as the spikes show up. Hive Knight will leap while these spike-filled honey orbs persist. Hive Knight telegraphs this attack when they raise their needle straight up. A flash of light shines on its point just before Hive Knight rears back and jabs their needle into the ground. Shortly after, bubbles of honey float up into the air. They soon fill out into the orbs of honey, and soon after that, spikes protrude from the orbs. Nearly half a second later, the first orb bursts. This occurs 2 more times. Let's call this attack the Honey Spikes attack. Hive Knight spews 12 Hivelings into the air from their mouth. These Hivelings disappear beyond the top of the arena, but then only 7 fly down one after another in shallow arcs from random positions in the ceiling and slowly track our movement. This attack won't happen until we've taken at least 30% of Hive Knight's health. We can hit the Hivelings off course with our nail, and they can be destroyed with spells. While the Hivelings are assaulting us, Hive Knight will do a lunge, then a leap, and then one more leap or attack. One huge note about this attack. If Hive Knight dies after the first Hiveling starts their assault, the Hivelings will continue their assault while Hive Knight is dying. Hive Knight telegraphs this attack when they squat and swell, like they are now full of bees. They breathe deeply a few times in this pose before turning their face skyward, and with a big exhalation, open their mouth wide, expunging the adorable and deadly Hivelings. The first Hiveling begins their attack before the last Hiveling reaches the top of the arena. Hive Knight will start the lunge before the second Hiveling arrives. They'll perform the leap shortly after the 4th Hiveling arrives. And Hive Knight will perform their 3rd action as the last Hiveling descends. Let's call this attack the Infinite Bees attack. My first time defeating Hive Knight was a strange one. I raced through the fight because I learned that I needed to defeat them while I was streaming the brand new Godmaster content. I wanted to show off as much Godmaster content as possible, so I ran back to the Hive with every single combat-related perk the game had, and quickly and inelegantly dispatched Hive Knight. I didn't know their moves, attacks, or anything about them, but I had maximum hit points and soul vessels and the pure nail and a time crunch, so I just bullied my way through it. The charms I was using were Sharp Shadow, Mark of Pride, Quick Slash, and Shaman Stone. I had no specific reason for bringing these charms. They were just the last ones I used in Godhome, so we'll discuss all fight tactics and strategies in the next section. With Hive Knight being an optional boss, it is possible to return to this fight with every single combat-related ability, except one discussed later. So Hive Knight can essentially be as difficult or as easy as you'd like, and I will always recommend trying to make a boss fight as easy on ourselves as possible. For starters, Hive Knight's health scales with the level of our nail, from 800 with the old nail to 920 with the pure nail. This means it would take 160 strikes with the old nail and 44 strikes with the pure nail to defeat Hive Knight. Let's talk about dodging Hive Knight's attacks next. To avoid Hive Knight's lunge and surprise slash attacks, we can shadow dash through them, jump over them, or move beyond their range. Each method allows us to counterattack as well. For the Honey Spikes attack, it is best to stay in the corners and pay close attention to the spikes. Hive Knight's leap is random, so it's less important to worry about that, but there are times when we may need to dash away to avoid that leap. We also have to be careful of those times when a spike will hit the corner we're in. In those cases, we can try to knock the dangerous orb away or adjust our position. Infinite Bees is a tricky one thanks to Hive Knight doing the lunge, leap, and third action while it's happening. For the easiest time with Infinite Bees, it's best to stagger Hive Knight. Their stagger lasts for almost the entirety of the Hiveling's assault. And just look at this adorable stagger! Without being lucky and staggering Hive Knight, we must keep our eyes skyward, since we know a lunge and leap are coming, but the Hiveling's positions are random. This is another time when having the Shade Cloak is very helpful, because trying to jump and normal dash around Hivelings while avoiding Hive Knight's follow-up attacks is tricky. Hive Knight is a quick-moving boss, and as such, it is most efficient to do as much damage as possible in those moments when Hive Knight stops moving. Shade Soul is a great option against Hive Knight. We can cast it as a counter to every attack Hive Knight has. We can cast it while out of range of both the lunge and surprise slash attacks, or cast it after shadow dashing through Hive Knight. Hive Knight is also stationary for a brief time for both the Honey Spikes and Infinite Bees attacks, which gives us the opportunity to blast them with multiple Shade Souls. We can also use Shade Soul to destroy Hivelings. If you'd like, bring the charm Fluke Nest. This charm increases the damage of Shade Soul by at least 100%, and despite the decreased range, it hardly limits the usage of our Shade Soul spell. Descending Dark is an okay option against Hive Knight. The invincibility frames are a great way out of the sticky situations we can find ourselves in during the Honey Spikes and Infinite Bees attacks. It's also fantastic at destroying the Hivelings. But we need to time our Descending Darks precisely to maximize its damage. Otherwise, Hive Knight is knocked back by the initial blast and can end up out of range of the second. Abyss Shriek is an option against Hive Knight. The best quality of Abyss Shriek is that it is great at destroying Hivelings. Aside from that, Abyss Shriek is fairly dangerous because Hive Knight is a light boss and gets bounced around by this spell, which usually means that Hive Knight is going to bounce into us. As always, bring Shaman Stone if you want your spells to do more damage, and Spell Twister if you want to cast 4 spells per full soul gauge instead of 3. Nail arts are pretty good against Hive Knight. Great Slash is a flexible nail art, working as a counter against the lunge and surprise slash attacks, in addition to being capable of dealing damage during the beginnings of the Honey Spikes and Infinite Bees attacks. Dash Slash works best as a way to close the distance and deal damage on Hive Knight when they are starting the Honey Spikes and Infinite Bees attacks. Cyclone Slash is a great nail art against Hive Knight. We can use it in response to any of Hive Knight's attacks. The fact that we can move laterally while mashing the attack button to extend Cyclone Slash means we can punish Hive Knight with a ridiculous amount of damage. As always, Nail Master's Glory is an integral charm if you want to use nail arts as often as possible. Fragile/unbreakable strength, heretofore referred to as strength, is always fantastic. It increases our nail strike damage by 50%, and that's never bad. Steady Body is another fantastic charm against Hive Knight, since they are a light boss and nail strikes push Hive Knight away from us. Steady Body allows us to continue pursuing Hive Knight after every hit. Quick Slash on its own is pretty great if we use upward slashes to strike Hive Knight. With upward slashes, we can negate Hive Knight's weight, and they will not bounce away from us when we strike them with our nail. Quick Slash is always better in combination with strength. And, to remove the need for using only upward slashes, combine Quick Slash with Steady Body. The nail range extender Mark of Pride is useful against Hive Knight. The extra range allows us to stay safer against the lunge and surprise slash attacks, giving us just that little bit of extra time to dodge those attacks, and/or making it easier to counterattack. This extended range also helps keep us safe from Hivelings. For the most benefit with range extension, add the charm Long Nail. I do believe that having the Shade Cloak makes this fight a lot safer for us. Our Shadow Dash recovery time is such that we should have our Shadow Dash available every time Hive Knight attacks. With that in mind, I think bringing Sharp Shadow is a great option. Every attack Hive Knight does can be responded to with a Shadow Dash, so why not make our Shadow Dashes do our nails damage too? Furthermore, if we want our Shadow Dashes to do 1.5 times our nails damage, we can add Dash Master. Thorns of Agony isn't bad against Hive Knight. More often than not, if we are hit by Hive Knight, the tendrils will hit them back. Being able to do 2 times our nails damage when we're hit isn't such a bad thing. Here's something I never thought I'd talk about in one of these discussions, but we've got the time and there's actually something to talk about. Heavy Blow is not completely useless. It helps keep the Hivelings away from us, which can help us survive the Infinite Bee's attack. Let's talk healing. There are several opportunities when fighting Hive Knight to heal a single hit point safely without any charms. When we're out of range during a lunge or surprise slash attack, when we dodge those attacks early, and when Hive Knight starts the Infinite Bee's attack. We can usually safely heal 2+ hit points during the Honey Spike's attack and when Hive Knight is staggered. Quick Focus is useful against Hive Knight. Essentially, it makes every no charm safe healing opportunity safer by providing us with just a bit more time to get that 1 hit point. During those 2+ hit point healing opportunities, Quick Focus can usually guarantee us healing 3 hit points. Shape of Un on its own doesn't provide much of anything against Hive Knight. However, when combined with Quick Focus, it does allow us to heal safely, relatively, during the Infinite Bee's attack. After Hive Knight lunges, of course. We can, with this combination, also dodge a Renegade Honey Spike. Don't worry if you're taking a lot of hits from Hive Knight. That's understandable. We can bring any of the suite of health boosting charms, Fragile/Unbreakable Heart, Lifeblood Core, Lifeblood Heart, and Joni's Blessing. If we start with a maximum of 9 hit points, using all 4 of these charms would get us 22 hit points. What I think is probably the strongest, most offensive build against Hive Knight is Quick Slash, Steady Body, Strength, Shaman Stone, and Thorns of Agony. Essentially, I never stop mashing the attack button and staying close to Hive Knight. Once I have enough soul, I'll spam Descending Dark or Shade Soul if Hive Knight ever gets away. With maximum stats and this charm loadout, the fight takes less than 30 seconds. Once we defeat Hive Knight, they fall to their knees and look towards the very large bee in the background for a moment before falling over dead. We now gain access to the deepest part of the hive, and in this room, we find the charm Hive Blood. Hive Blood is one of the most interesting charms in Hollow Knight due to its unique abilities. For starters, it changes our health into these lovely honey-colored hexagons. It also grants us the ability to automatically heal the last hit point of damage we've taken. This healing process takes 12 seconds, and it's interrupted/restarted if we take any damage during that time. This charm is incredibly helpful for large platforming challenges because it allows us to heal without the need for soul. This healing effect is also useful in other scenarios depending on how good we are at avoiding taking damage. One incredibly interesting effect of Hive Blood is that if we have it equipped, the denizens of the hive do not attack us and do no contact damage to us, unless we provoke them. I take that to mean that if we've equipped Hive Blood, we are, in the eyes of the bees, just like them, which I think demonstrates that the bees are not infected and are just normal bees. Even though, yes, they do appear to explode with infection, but I'm wondering if that's supposed to be honey or pollen instead. Speaking of being a normal bee, can anyone tell me how Hive Knight buzzes without wings? If we return to the arena where we defeated Hive Knight, we are met by the ghost of Queen Vespa, not that Vespa. She seems happy that her knight has been laid to rest finally. She also knows of the machinations of the Pale King and White Lady, since she recognizes what we are, and admonishes them for their desperate actions. How she knows about any of that is a fantastic question, and I'm sure many of you have a headcanon for that. I do agree with her on one thing, though. It is good that Hive Knight is dead. They clearly didn't understand that their queen was dead, yet they were still, for however long it's been, trying to defend her and the Hive, trying to fulfill a duty long since over. Hopefully, they are finally at peace. That's it for our boss discussion about Hive Knight. Thank you for joining me today, noobs. Stay tuned for future Hollow Knight guides. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Hive Knight in the comments below. I am the Perpetual Noob, and I'll see you all next time.